We're gonna do Disney first, so we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. So here we go. So it says, let's see right here. Let me pull this up, and we've got. So it says, Disney plus censors anti-white racial slur from Marvel short. All Hail the King. I don't know if you guys ever saw this. It was on Thor: The Dark World, like bonus features. But Disney did this thing where they were doing shorts for a while, like kind of like companion pieces for different things to do with.
Thank you.
Oh, the other thing.
What was that?
Hannah Claire loved it.
I actually jumped.
So what we're going to do is, for Super Chats, we're going to try and read them at the end of each segment. That's what we're going to try and do. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's keep talking.
My heart is racing.
Are you okay?
Oh, God.
Did that scare you?
Yes. I don't know why.
It was scaring Dane too, but I think it's just the fact that like you're sitting in the right in the crosshairs of it.
It is kind of like right at Hannah Claire, and it looks like it's about to
Bring it on.
get her.
I'm ready.
Yes.
That was good to know.
So yes, so I don't know. It's I don't feel as bad because it's like right next to me, so I don't really have to worry about it happening to me. Thank goodness.
So what was Disney doing with these shorts?
So basically they were companion pieces between movies, and this one says, in the latest instance of streaming platforms making changes to their Marvel content, Disney Plus has censored the utterance of an anti-white racial slur from the fake Mandarin. It's a fake Mandarin-centric short film called All Hail the King. It's basically after he's been arrested from the situation in Iron Man 3, he is then they show this thing of him in prison.
Who is he?
He's a character that was the bad guy. He was like the faux bad guy in Iron Man 3, played by Ben Kingsley. So it says, released in 2014 as a special feature included in the physical home release of Thor: The Dark World, and the second of Marvel's now defunct one-shot series of the MCU tie-in films. All Hail the King takes place after the events of Iron Man 3 and features the aforementioned Trevor Slattery as portrayed by actor Sir Benjamin Kingsley. I don't know if it's Ben. My brother's name is Ben. It's not short for Benjamin, so I could actually have gotten that wrong. In prison for his perceived role as the head of the Ten Rings. Upon his arrival at Seagate Prison, which once held Luke Cage, Slattery's list of illegal deeds soon finds him idolized by fellow criminals and eventually amasses a following of dedicated followers within the facility. At one point during his stay, an absent-minded Slattery spills like his lunch tray on somebody, and the guy gets very mad. The inmate's name is White Power, so that's very
his name.
Very, very on the nose, as you can imagine. So it says
we don't want there to be any questioning what's going on.
It's like you might as well start a gang called the Bad Guy Group. Yeah. Like that. That would be what it would be called.
The Enemies.
Yes, yeah. So it
Marvel launches a new movie called Villains.
That's what they should just call it. It says a short-tempered Dave then proceeds to threaten Slattery over his unofficial bodyguard, a black man named Herman, played by Lester Spate, to lead a charge of the actor's followers to his defense. This is where Disney made their edit. So basically what happened is the guy says, in the original cut of All Hail the King, he rushes to Slattery's side. Herman can be heard aggressively calling out to Dave, "Hey." I don't know if we can actually say. You can see it on screen if you can see it. I don't know if you guys can read that. I don't know if we're actually allowed to say it.
It is a slur for white people.
It is a slur for white people.
It's something
that rhymes with slacker.
Cheese on.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say it.
I don't know technically if this is something that's allowed on YouTube. It's kind of these things are always ambiguous. But to me, this is one of those things where.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is one of those things where I don't know whether it's something that I care about, because I've been, like I mentioned yesterday, I've been rewatching The Wire. And in season 2 of The Wire, there is basically the idea is like it's taking place down at the docks. The whole theme of season 2 is the death of the middle class, and there is a slur for Polish people that is said very frequently in that season. That it doesn't bother me. Like you're censoring the work of the artist.
Weren't there other slurs too?
Oh yeah, like there's a whole lot of
pretty much any slur you can think of.
It was a different time, as they say.
It was a different time.
It was a very different time.
So do you think Disney was right to censor this?
No, I don't. I don't. I think it's extremely stupid.
So do you think that they should not censor any race-related slur?
I don't think that it should. The idea is that why is it ending up on Disney? Like Disney owns majority stake in Hulu. It would make more sense for them to.
Thank you.
It would make more sense for them to do this like on Hulu, where there's a lot less strain. When you go on Disney Plus, parents are kind of expecting it to be family friendly because that's the Disney brand. But if you're going to put the stuff on Disney Plus, what's the point of doing so if it's going to be censored if you own majority stake in the other company as well? And I think Netflix is kind of learning their lesson here when it comes to their employees, because as much as we want to trash Netflix, and people have been trashing Netflix a lot lately, mainly due to this, there was the memo that came out about basically their stock dropped hugely. I almost said hugely. Is hugely a word?
Yes.
Hugely.
Not the
Bigly.
best word.
Bigly's not a
Don't
word,
say
but
bigly, that's bad.
but okay. So the idea is that
I'd say
like
it dropped tremendously.
tremendously. So Netflix
such
is
a
learning their
writer.
Netflix is learning their lesson. Hopefully, I mean it'll take time to turn that around, and I don't trust Netflix as far as I can throw them. But the idea is that as a corporation, if they want to make money, they need to do that by actually making stuff that people want to see. And Disney continuing to censor stuff just proves that I don't think that they're really paying attention to the fact that this could have easily gone over to Hulu and nobody would have cared. You're still putting your same Marvel properties, which are Disney subsidiaries, or Marvel's a subsidiary of Disney. It's still going out. You're just not causing stuff like this to come out, because every time it comes out, I call it out here mainly because if you don't buy physical media, you're going to lose out on a whole ton of content. There was a previous situation from Marvel when they first moved the Marvel shows over to Disney Plus, where they edited a bunch of scenes in one episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier to remove blood and what is like, I guess, kind of gore. Like you see like I believe it was like a pole go through like somebody's chest and like pin them to like a what do you call it? Like a trailer bed or something like that, or like on the docks. So they edited that so that it looks more ambiguous. And then they edited a shot of somebody looking obviously dead, where they put his, like they closed in the shot. He's like very much dead. There's blood on his chest and his eyes are open. And then they edited it to be like there's no blood on his chest and then his eyes are closed. So it's like he could be asleep. Who knows?
Okay.
So that is like, and when they do that, it's like you're never going to know whether what you're watching now is going to be what it was in 10 years. You're going to go nuts.
Confuses me that they continue to go back and do these edits and these they make these censorship judgments and expect nobody to notice. Like it's obviously drawing more attention to it than ever would have been on it otherwise.
See, I think it's more unusual to me or confusing that this whole movie went through production, right? Somebody wrote this line into the movie and then they rehearsed it and then they did a table read and then they cast someone and he learned his lines and it's been there for a long time. It's like after the fact they're like, wait, we've got to take that out. Like I feel like it's
But they're just, it seems like they're going back and like scrambling to delete anything that's even approaching like questionable in the new ethics of our day.
I'm surprised they didn't catch it beforehand, right?
Well, but when this was made.
Back when this was made, there was nothing to catch because people were less insane and neurotic back then.
When was this made?
2014.
So I mean, we were living in different times.
That was like right
then.
on the precipice of when everything started.
I listed as Ghostbusters.
Downhill.
2016 is kind of the start of all of this in media. I mean, I was like,
really
the very very obvious blatant stuff. It was clearly creeping in beforehand. Yes,
but like
2016.
2015 was really like the beginning of whatever you want to call it, like the culture war.
Can I ask, do you feel like this is because it's a anti-white racial slur?
No, I don't.
It made it through the writer's room because I don't think you could have done the same thing for another ethnic group.
You don't think?
2014.
In 24. No, she's saying like they wouldn't have been able to say something disparaging about the somebody of another race.
Even if it's to make this story more accurate to reality, you don't think they would have?
I think it's interesting that they are like when you open the story and said this is what we're talking about. I think it's interesting because it gives Disney the stance that like we're not going to tolerate it from any racial group, right?
Yeah.
And that narrative I think has been established for minority groups, but I don't think it's always true for the way we talk about white actors or white slurs.
I mean, I guess I
don't want them to censor.
That they're not going to do a double standard, but also at the same time, like you're telling stories of a lower quality because they don't relate to reality
I think that there is
anymore.
It goes back to this, like I asked Brett, like, would you want them to censor everything or censor nothing? And I do think that, like, especially depending on the movie, using racial slurs, like, while they are, hurtful or not appropriate in a lot of contexts, like, the reality is some people do use them. And if you're creating an authentic world in a movie where they are used,
especially in a place where criminals and, like, basically like the rejected people of society you're going to act like they have some kind of sanitized language with each other.
It's not accurate. It takes away from the authenticity of the world they're creating. On the other hand,
it doesn't let you suspend your disbelief.
Right. Or are they trying to have that's not as important as maintaining the standard to the audience that no racial slurs are tolerated under any circumstances. I don't have an answer for this. It's just kind of curious to see what line Disney is trying to walk.
It is also funny that like every time this happens, they change it. Back when this happened with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode, they also did this with Luke Cage and the Punisher. They edited out the Stan Lee tributes at the end of there. I don't remember why for the Luke Cage one. It was for the actor Reggie Cathy, who had passed away, who was in that show. He's fantastic. He's actually in The Wire, because I keep talking about The Wire because it's my favorite show to rewatch every year. They edited out the Stan Lee tribute at the end of The Punisher, and they edited out the Reggie Cathy one at the end of Luke Cage. I don't know why they edited out the Luke Cage one. I know that people said that they edited out the Stan Lee one because they felt like a tribute to Stan Lee after these scenes of like horrific violence in the finale of The Punisher felt like it didn't fit, and nobody actually, like, until people called them out, they just, like, what they did is like they just go, oh, it was an accident. We did not mean to do that. It says in March the company was found to have censored the 3rd episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but then it says not even a week later, Disney was discovered to have edited the in memoriam tribute to Stan Lee and Reggie Cathy. I don't know if it's pronounced. I keep saying Cathy, but it could be Cathay. I thought it was spelled differently here, but somebody could correct me on that. For the final episodes of The Punisher and Luke Cage, respectively. Like the other episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the original cuts of these 2 episodes have since been restored. As of writing, Marvel has yet to comment on the censorship of All Hail the King. Basically, they said that it was down to like because they were going to edit something else, and it magically happened in post. Like it just somehow it magically happened on air. Or I'm not sorry. So like magically happened on the server. Yes. So it says Disney claimed that the alternate cut of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was accidentally uploaded in an attempt to correct a credit. So in an attempt to correct text on a screen, they somehow managed to change CGI, change someone's eyelids, and then they're like, "Oh, well, that could happen to anyone.
It just happened.
It's just magic. Who knows?
Glitch.
Yeah,
it was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
We did a keyboard smash, and it just happened.
They're like, just right. They're literally using the "we're boomers, we don't know what happened" excuse. Like, I can't say.
The fact that they know they
knows?
have that
It's
in
bad.
their sleeve.
It magically got edited. It got magically uploaded to a server. It got magically cut into the original cut of the film, and then it got magically thank you. And then it got magically put into the new cut of things, and that's what it was. And that's just, we're supposed to just buy that. And so I say buy physical media. The thing is, Netflix, who seems to be learning their lesson, telling employees to not, if you don't like working on projects that you might have offended sensibilities by, maybe Netflix isn't the right company for you. Their stock is tanking right now, but it's possible that could rebound if they actually stick true to their beliefs. But you can actually, I don't know if you can buy physical Netflix media from the originals. I know you cannot with
Like, you mean Netflix original content?
Yes, I don't know if you can buy Netflix original media on DVD or Blu-ray. I know that with Disney, obviously you can buy whatever they release there, but Marvel Netflix never went to DVD, so you can't find. You would have had.
There isn't a DVD. You'd have to burn the copy as soon as it's.
You might have had to be a pirate like Johnny Depp and do something that you're not supposed to do if you were going to do that, which you shouldn't do. We do not advocate for that. That is bad.
Endorse
that is bad.
Behavior.
So I'm going to call this out every time this happens, because it's kind of dystopian to think that like 2 years from now you could be watching a scene from a movie and be like, I could have swore that looked differently before, and then you kind of go nuts because you're just like, I don't know if that's what I saw, because I think about that sometimes. I rewatch things and I remember them very differently from when I was a kid, just because so much time has passed. Now imagine the stuff is actually changing.
Yeah,
I think that's intentional. You're not supposed to trust your own experiences, your own interpretations of the media you consumed, and ultimately they want you to fully trust their authority.
Yeah, they're the arbiters of what you're supposed to actually
as the arbiters of truth.
Yep.
And
I would say too, this is not always an effective strategy for media companies. I know I've referenced it on the podcast before, but a couple weeks ago, a NASCAR driver got he had to go to sensitivity training because he is friends with a guy in the race, and he tweeted a clip of Family Guy that had like an anti driver stereotype, and that clip no longer exists in any streamed recording of Family Guy, but it does exist on YouTube. And so the meme version that he tweeted is clipped from YouTube. So like some of these things, like I mean I would say the majority of them, if the production houses, if the movie companies decide
Yeah.
to scrub them, they will be lost forever. And I think that is very dystopian. On the other hand, like some of the things they can't take back,
Yeah.
and they exist outside their control.
In what,
I think
what do you
this
mean?
means that we need to return to VHS tapes.
Yes, or Betamax. Even
Yeah.
that.
Also, the fact that everyone has a recording device in their pocket now, you can basically save whatever material you want. And then, I mean, unless they decide that they want to copyright strike posting these censored clips on YouTube.
But I also don't know enough about copyright law to know this, but I remember back in the like LimeWire music downloading days, like
Yep.
there was enough stuff where it's like, well, if you clip the audios from a bunch of different files of songs and put it together as a new song, it's actually its own material or something like
Yeah.
that.
Changing a
so-
certain percentage of
yeah,
it.
so I wonder if there are workarounds with that too. Like you could copyright strike certain things, but there might be ways to preserve it and save it
Yeah.
if it's really important. But we just don't know what we're losing is what's eerie to me. Like we don't know what they're going to choose to remove when we're not looking.
It bothers me because I can think of several movies off the top of my head that have like very bad language or things that would definitely never be allowed today. But the movie wasn't done with the context of hurting anyone. It's done to portray a character that has sensibilities that we in polite society don't agree with. And that's the point of it. It's art. It's not supposed to be looked
Well,
at.
Do you guys
would go
think this relates to Amber Heard's scenes getting cut from Aquaman 2?
No,
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 I think
no.
that's different.
No, I
I
think
would
Is
say-
that adjusting to the sensibilities
Oh,
of
okay.
society and censoring
and-
something?
And we will get into that later because we're going to talk about that in a future subject. But before we move on, do you want to talk? Was there super chats? Did anybody say
There
anything?
were, yes. We got
This is
shot
so
with money
exciting.
multiple
Yes.
times. Okay, Waffles Sensei says Brett, Dave, Mary, Hannah,
I think they meant
Hannah
Dane.
Claire.
Yes, you got.
No, but he's Dave from now on. Oh my
so
gosh.
Dave.
we're now going to call Dane Dave
That
all
means
the time.
that all of you have to call Brett Branthovic also.
No,
that-
Dave is
no.
funnier. What did Waffle Sensei say? Just
You
as our
guys
names?
talked about Elden Ring a little. Was wondering if you guys wanted a Souls vet to help enhance your gameplay. Hit me up
Ooh.
at user in our midst on Twitter.
Dane
Love
might
to
actually
play with y'all.
Dane might actually be.
He might take you up on that.
Dane is definitely a gamer. I'm less. I'm actually. I play more like I collect vintage video game systems. I'm not one for modern, but I have like everything from Atari up to like a PlayStation 2.
Okay.
But I don't play a lot of modern video games. But Dane might actually be a fan of that idea.
Yeah, we'll bring it up to him.
Yes.
Good old Dave.
Cyber Gulag.
I wonder who that could be.
You're doing great, Brett. Sounds good too.
I think you said you're doing great, Brett. Oh, sounds good. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I had the comma in the wrong place there.
Yeah.
Makes all the difference, let me tell you.
It does.
I think Caper2X says, I wonder what could happen if we sit Hannah Claire on a dump tank instead of using the money shooter. Bravo Zulu for numero dos, guys.
Don't give us ideas. That's fantastic.
Brett,
really
I'm
good
officially
idea.
announcing my retirement as your guest.
That is a
Don't scare her away, guys.
That is a fantastic idea. We should just come up with ideas for like those old Nickelodeon shows that would have like ridiculous
Yeah.
things. We should just do
You're
that.
gonna
with-
drop a bucket of slime
Yes,
from
we're-
above, and I'm
yeah.
That
sorry.
would be awesome.
We're
I
gonna
think
do
it would
that.
be funny if we had like a meter, and at a certain point, like whoever is like just really either irritating the listeners or really like, you know, they
Yeah.
like them today, something big happens at the end. But one thing at a time. I'm still flinching every time the money guns go off. So
You'll get used to it.
okay,
Yeah.
veteran.
And then some guy named Christopher Poole
No
said,
idea who
wow,
that is.
these money guns are impressive. I mean, look, they're nothing
Did,
special.
did Chris did he trademark these? That's what I want to know.
That's,
I'll need the
Sue, if
programming
he
behind
didn't.
this.
That's yes, they are quite impressive. And by the way, the money gets stuck in places that gets very distracting, like that. Yes.
They're just blowing in the wind.
Yes. All right.
I think we need more. I think we need more money on the table.
We're gonna work on it.
Okay,
We're gonna
let's
work
do
on it. You can donate. And
No,
then
I'm busy. I'm in the middle of a live stream podcast.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.